Hi, this is Rick Anthony, and welcome to the Someone You Should Know podcast, the podcast that spotlights the stars of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So sit back, relax, have a cold one, and get ready to meet someone you should know. Well, my guest today on the Someone You Should Know podcast is an independent songwriter, musician from the Chicago area who just released a brand new single in November. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more. Would you please welcome my guest, Patrick Goode. Patrick, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Patrick, first, thanks for reaching out to be a guest on the Someone You Should Know podcast. Let's talk a little bit about your music background. How old were you when you started falling in love with music and maybe your first instrument? What was the background like?
Yeah, it was about, probably 7 or 8, and then started with the saxophone.
Oh, sax. Okay,
and,
okay. So it's,
yeah,
okay. That's a
Still
good. Hey, that's a good instrument to start on too, man.
Oh yeah. So Bruce Springsteen was big at the time. I'm dating myself a little bit, but
so I'm guessing Clarence Clemens was was one of your icons, huh?
Exactly. And so started with the sax. Still have it. Went all the way through bands. I was a band geek. Did that whole thing. Proud band geek, by the way.
Well, we all have to be, right?
So, yeah, it's cool because we got to hang out, in study hall. You could go down to the band room and just hang out and jam with other people. It's kind of an open thing. So that was really cool.
Oh, I like that. I see some of your other influences. You said Springsteen, U2, AC/DC, but also being in the Chicago area, Buddy Guy, Muddy Waters. That adds a little bit of influence there too.
The blues has been heavily influenced. I'm heavily influenced by the blues. Absolutely.
I love the blues music too. I do too. Got to find myself a nice blues club to check out in 2023 in Chicagoland. The first song we're going to feature is your most recent one. Came out in November. It's called "Making It Right," and there was a really nice write-up in TuneCloud, calling it a thoughtful, haunting, heartfelt, and transcending piece of work, which never gives you the impression it's trying to achieve those things. That's deeper than what I can come with on the show. So what are your thoughts on this particular piece?
I kind of woke up with in the morning with it in my head, and it's just based on some personal stuff that I was going through, and so I laid it down, and I got a home studio here, so I laid down the first parts, and it just I really didn't know how it was going to finish, or I really didn't know what it was going to be about. I just kind of heard the main riff in there and just kind of worked with it from there. And so it turned out to be a really, really nice piece. I really enjoyed that. And so it's the first solo artist endeavor. It took me forever to actually realize, hey, I could really release music on my own. I could just do different kind of genre type stuff. So I'm kind of into a little bit of pop, a little bit of electronic maybe, because traditionally I've done just rock and hard rock type stuff.
All right.
But,
TuneCloud loves it. I love it. We're going to play it right now. Here's "Making It Right" from Patrick Goode, my guest today on the Someone You Should Know podcast.
Welcome in the hero. Let's start a new age, let's be real, let's be true. I'm trying to make things right. I'm trying to make things right if you let me.
That is Making It Right from today's guest on the Someone You Should Know podcast, Patrick Goode. Now, Patrick, is this part of an EP or an LP we should be expecting in 2023 or what?
It's just single, and then so I'm just going to start releasing singles.
Okay.
I like that approach because you get to have new music for longer.
There you go.
Basically, if for no other reason, right? But so I'm going to start. I've got a bunch of songs in the backlog that I want to record and release.
All right, very good.
So,
now, you were talking about the fact that it's hard to be a new musician. What are the biggest hurdles that new musicians face these days?
Definitely, getting exposure and being heard amongst all the other musicians, I guess, it would be the biggest. Plus, like reviews and stuff like that I see a lot of like pay to get reviewed, or if you talk about like a Submit Hub or Groover or these kinds of outfits. I mean, I get what they're doing, but I've definitely seen a shift towards that. Like if you want to submit to a magazine or something to get reviewed, like more often than not, you're going to pay for that. So it didn't used to be that way. And I get it, like print media and all that and digital media is they use that to support themselves.
Well,
to keep going.
I totally understand that, but the thing is, like the Someone You Should Know podcast, this is a free service to individuals like yourself who would just need to be heard. That's just it. There's so much good music. There's so much good music out there that needs to get an audience, and that's what that's the premise of the show is to get you heard by all our listeners. We've got listeners worldwide, Patrick. So that's kind of who knows? You might have a gig coming up in Birmingham, England next year. Who knows?
That would be awesome.
I heard this lad over on the Someone You Should Know podcast. We got to get him. He's a good Irish boy. Patrick Goode.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I might be extending a little bit there. Your high water mark so far. I know you had the single. That's got to be says something right there. What about gigs that you might have played with your other bands and such? Anything stand out?
Well, there's a couple of good ones. I mean, back in the day, we played Metro. Played Cubby Bear. These are very great venues in Chicago. So played those, and then that was with my first band. And then recently with CatGotYourTongueStudios, we were on JBTV. So I was very honored to do that. Yeah. So those are a couple of memorable ones. There's a couple other ones where we were in studio in a college radio station. So WZRD Chicago, WNC Naperville, those are really fun to do.
All right, very good.
It's a different experience, yeah, to be actually on the actual airwaves.
Now you mentioned CatGotYourTongueStudios. That's one of the bands you're involved with. Also Junkyard Jet. Can you give us let's give them a little love. Who are some of the members of those bands?
So we got Ari, Quentin, Tony, and CatGotYourTongueStudios, and Chris, Marco, and Carl and Junkyard Jet.
All right. Now let's. What are the types of genres of music for them? Are they just straight ahead rock and roll or what?
Yeah, they're both rock. I'm really excited about both of them. We have material for Junkyard Jet, which is not released. It's just a brand new thing. We sort of aren't out yet, but it's like it's very hard to describe. That's one of the hardest things to describe. What kind? I guess straight rock and roll. I guess
All right.
it's a little bit of pop influence, a little bit of electric kind of stuff in both bands.
Now let's feature some music from CatGotYourTongueStudios. We're going to feature here is "Stuck on the Wall." What's the vibe on the song there, Patrick?
This is a sort of a mental health kind of themed song about just picking yourself up when you're feeling down, basically.
All right, real good. We're going to feature that right now on the Someone You Should Know podcast. My guest today is Patrick Goode. This is with his band CatGotYourTongueStudios right now on the Someone You Should Know podcast. Good song right there, Stuck on the Wall. The band is CatGotYourTongues. It features today's guest, Patrick Goode, on my podcast show today. I thank you so much for joining me. The Chicago music scene it's so diverse and so deep. You can go down the street and hear jazz, you can hear blues, and then you can hear hip-hop and rap, and then next thing you know, you hear rock and roll. It's right in the same block very much. You mentioned playing Metro and playing Cubby Bear. Other places that you really and truly like to play in the Chicagoland area or wherever?
Just recently, we played a place off of Halstead and Armitage, I believe. The store, very cool place. There's people coming in and out, all ages, just very cool vibes. That's a ton of fun.
Awesome. Very good. Very good. Now, this next thing is something we always love to feature, and I think I told you this as we were getting the show set up here. It's called Tales from the Road, and this is those infamous road stories of getting to and from a gig, something that happened at a gig, getting there and realize you forgot your amp or you forgot the directions to the place, wherever it might be. You've been playing for a while. Anything come to mind for Patrick Goode's Tales from the Road?
Definitely. So the biggest one, I met my wife at a show.
Oh, cool.
We actually had mutual friends, and then we kind of 1 degree of separation, just missed each other for a number of years. And then we finally got introduced. And then, so nothing happened right then. And, we just kind of said hi and stuff. We played a show in Colorado with 5 Year Jacket at the time. And on the way back, I smoked cigarettes at the time, and so did she. So there was a group of people who were like, "Oh, we can smoke in this van." So I got in the van. Turns out she was in the back seat. So we literally talked all the way from Colorado to Illinois, and that is basically what started our relationship. So that's probably the most memorable one for sure. I actually wrote a song about it.
Awesome. Very good. That's a good one. A lot of those tales from the roads that we get are basically things that go completely wrong. Yours was actually a positive spin. Very, very good. Let's talk about Let's talk about projects you got for 2023. What is happening for Patrick Goode in 2023?
Basically, all fronts as much as possible. Probably the biggest for Junkyard Jet. We're going to release a single hopefully that year. And solo project is going to be hopefully 1 or 2 songs, definitely 1, maybe 2. And then Kadoosh is recording a new EP. That'll probably be done in 23. Not sure if we'll do an EP approach or release singles. Kind of haven't decided that. But yeah, lots of new music in 23. I can't wait.
Awesome. I like that. Looking forward to paying more attention. I know the listeners probably want to hear a little bit more about your stuff that you've got going on there. Could you give us some links? Where would people go to check out more information regarding dates, times, releases, and such? Patrick Goode, where would it be?
It's the ffm.bio/Kadoosh would be one of them.
Okay.
The other one is ffm.bio/Pat Goode Music and junkyardjet.band.
All right, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and include the links. Now, you're probably driving around going, "Oh gosh, I can't write this down." They'll be in the links in the show notes. The links will be in the show notes for you to find, so you can follow him. Any final thoughts there, Patrick?
I appreciate what you're doing, having people on like this, and it's great what you're doing for the local music scene, for sure.
Well, thanks, man. I do appreciate that. I mean, I really love the local music scene. This is all, of course, we have guests from all over the place, and I really and truly love, it's kind of like my way of giving back to the music community for providing us great music through the years, regardless if you're small or if you're a major act. I really and truly love sharing music and sharing stories, and that's what this platform is that the Someone You Should Know podcast is basically what it says, someone you should know. And today's Someone You Should Know guest, Patrick Goode. Thanks for being on the show, man. I do appreciate you being with us.
Thanks so much.
We wish you the very best for 2023, my man.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Hi, this is Rick Anthony, thanking you again for listening to this episode of Someone You Should Know. Now, if you're an aspiring musician or an established musician that's looking for a little exposure, I invite you to drop us a line at someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. That's someoneyoushouldknowpodcast@gmail.com. Also, I invite you to tell a friend about the Someone You Should Know podcast. I thank you for tuning in this time, and I invite you to check us out next time on the Someone You Should Know podcast, because you never know who's going to show up. Until next time, remember, God loves you, and so do I.